Rastafari. Greetings, brothers and sisters. This is part two of my videos on Haile Selasie is not a deity. Now, let us break down this word. Here's the word. Deity. A god or goddess and a polytheistic religion. Theistic religion, excuse me. And now it says god and goddesses in a polytheistic religion. So a deity would work mostly would be like Hinduism, which is like Krishna and Vishnu and Shiva, the god of rain, and I think Shiva is like the god of fire, and Krishna and all of this and that. So again, those are deities, and those are like little G's, you could say, like little G's. Like there's the big G, and then there's the little G. And little G's have nothing on the big OG, which is the original big G God, Jah Rastafari. So, the deity would be like gods and goddesses. See, like, it also stresses here, a god or goddesses. Deities of like the ancient Greeks, India, even Egypt. Goddesses, a god of wind, the goddess of love, those things. Well, I as Rastafari do not practice God. We practice the one true God, Jah Rastafari, in his Moshiach, Jesus the Christos, Yeshua HaMoshiach, but we don't deal with gods and goddesses, even though some of you might get off on this Kemet stuff and think your goddesses worship, which is like your way of getting laid, like Brother Polite and some of them cats, but be that as it may, that's for another time. But now here's the word that His Majesty said, one should not mistake a human emanating from a deity. Here's the word, emanation. An abstract but perceptible thing that issues originates from a source. So emanation, as I broke down in my book here, brothers and sisters, is His Majesty says that one should not mistake or pretending and assuming a human being emanating from a deity. So what is this emanation that His Majesty refers to really about? It is about the false, modern, and spiritual doctrines of Darwinism alleges that man, i.e. humanity, wasn't created by the blameless creator, but rather emanated, popping out of nowhere, or evolved into creation and even some sort of a spiritual selfhood. So that would be like Darwinism. Basically, emanation means that out of nowhere we just popped out of, out of a nothing. So it's like people follow emanation, and the person that started this was this woman here, Helena Blavatsky. And reading up on her and some of her writings, she was basically anti-Christian. She didn't really like the Judeo-Christian thought, and she mostly turned to like Germanic paganism and worship of like the Nordic race and the Aryan race, which really fanned the flames of like the Third Reich and Nazism and Hitlerism. And she really kind of taught that white Aryan, that's the pagan Germanic religion, which is against what I as any real Christian Jew, Judaical Christian, or those who follow the teachings of the King of Kings would never subscribe to such blasphemy as this. But back to this here, brothers and sisters. So emanation just means that we just popped out of nowhere and evolved into creation. So it's like, boom, there was like a popped out of blob, and then as time went on, it just evolved into something. And that flies in the face of our Creator, that flies in the face of our one true Jah. And see here, brothers and sisters, this here too is something we can see. Emanationism is an idea in a cosmology or cosmony of certain religious and philosophical systems. Emanation, from the Latin emanare, meaning to flow from or to pour forth to out, is the mode of which all things are derived from the first reality or principle. All things are derived from the first reality or perfect God by steps of a degradation to lesser degrees of the first reality or God at every step. The emanated beings are less pure, less perfect, less divine. Emanationism is a transient principle from which everything is derived and is opposed to both creationism, wherein the universe is created by a sentimental God who is separate from creation, and materialism. So emanation just means we just popped out of nowhere. We were just a void of nothing and evolved to some type of being. So that's what His Majesty was saying. He wasn't saying, I am not divine. He never said that. He was saying, never mistake a human being emanating from a deity. So again, as I broke down, deity is like Hindu goddesses and the gods of Greece. I mean, these little G's who have nothing on the original OG, the Almighty God. And if you notice, His Majesty says a human cannot emanate from God, but never said a human can't be a god or gods. And He are gods, as Yahshua said in John, I believe it is. And He said, ye are all gods for me. So we are gods if we knew that power, and we are the manifestation of Jah because we were created in His image. And I can't be God or separated from Jah as two gods, but I can only join with Jah and through His Son as the way to be one with God. Selassie lives by and by the example of the true Christ. One may rightly say that he became or is already one with Jah by his divinity and his destiny and his liberty, manner of life. And all of I can be one with Jah by I liberty. So again, we are connected. We are the I, God and man. I. We are one